The diocese says a third-party investigation found 47 clergy members with substantiated allegations of sexual abuse of a minor.
People are hurt, they're sad, they're angry, but they want us to be transparent and to get this stuff out. And that's why we're doing what we're doing today.
Church authorities were aware of the harm done, of the crimes committed, so they bear a responsibility.
The diocese released 46 out of the 47 names to the public, as one is pending further legal review. Some of those names you may recognize from news coverage of their convictions, like John Patrick Feeney, Donald Buzanowski, and Richard Thomas, but other names released are new. Of the 47 accused, only 15 are still alive. The diocese says they removed those who are still living from their positions. But whether the accused abusers are dead or alive, survivors tell us their pain lives on.
I'm 71. I was raped and abused when I was 12 years old by my parish priest. It has caused great harm in my life, a harm that I suffer every day.
Church officials say there are 98 victims they know of, but Bishop David Ricken encouraged other possible victims to come forward. Representatives from the group SNAP, or Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests, tell us releasing the names is a step in the right direction.
It helps survivors understand that they're not alone, that they can actually see the perpetrator publicly announced, and it provides an opportunity for survivors to step forward.
The church says they chose to release the names to be more transparent. They also say they will provide counseling for victims and work to make sure no abusers remain in the clergy.
In the midst of all of this, a child was hurt. Children were harmed, and this must never happen again.
We believe the victims when they come forward and tell us their story. I believe them.
Jennifer Nazha, NBC 26. Driving through the snowy streets of northeast Wisconsin is nothing new.
It's winter in Wisconsin. This is what we get. This is what we do.
The first winter storm of the season is underway, so we spoke with travelers and Brown County Public Works to get some advice on driving in these conditions.
Be safe, be careful, be cautious, and plan ahead.
Nearly 50 plow trucks are ready to battle this storm. The County Highway Department says their main focus is on Interstates 43, 41, and 172. Officials ask that you give those drivers some space and move over for them to plow. The Brown County Public Works Department tells us they've already had a couple people run into their plows this year.
Most of it is impatient driving. I think people just want, it'll drive me crazy if I have to go 35 behind a snowplow, so I got to get around it.
Trucks are big, and they do a lot of damage.
You need to let them do their job, and if you stay out of their way, they can make the roads better quicker for everybody.
Drivers we spoke with say not to rush, drive slow, and prepare for your travel time to be a little longer than usual.
If you plan ahead, you'll get there safely eventually. Just don't cut it too close and don't wait till the last minute.
And the best way to avoid an accident? Drivers say,
if you don't have to go anywhere, stay at home.
But I wouldn't travel unless you have to.
but if you do have to drive in the storm,
always have a plan B in your back pocket because you just never know what's going to happen.
The NBC 26 weather team says snow won't stop falling until around noon on Wednesday. Keeping you connected, Jennifer Nazha, NBC 26.
This is our third fire in the last 24 hours here for Hobart, which is highly unusual.
The Hobart Fire Department says multiple crews were called to the apartment fire early Tuesday morning.
The police were pounding at our door, and that's how we found out. So we literally just grabbed the clothes off our back and we left.
Firefighters tell us they responded to the fire on the 800 block of Centennial Center Boulevard at around 6 a.m.
We did have flames shooting out of the one unit, the apartment.
They then called for additional help from the De Pere, Howard, Swamico, and Pulaski fire departments.
We were able to stop the fire at that apartment.
The fire department tells us there were no injuries, but about 35 to 40 people were forced out of their homes.
I started crying, so I was thinking we're going to lose everything. That's the first thing that came into my mind.
Firefighters believe it was an 18-unit complex, and of those, 4 units were directly affected by the fire. However, the whole building is without power and gas right now. As for what the residents will do,
I don't know. I mean, we have family in the area, so we'll stay with them, but
The fire department tells us the Red Cross is helping those affected, and firefighters say they don't know the cause of the fire as it's still under investigation. Reporting in Hobart, Jennifer Nazha, NBC 26. Psychotherapists I spoke with say the path to a new normal won't be easy, but they say there is hope for Jayme to come out of this stronger. Caitlin Carmody, a psychotherapist at Spectrum Behavioral Health in Alloway, says Jayme is going through a lot of complex traumas right now. She tells us when children are growing, their brains don't stop developing until they're 25, so it will be even harder for a 13-year-old to process this type of situation. However, Carmody tells us with the support of family, community, and a trauma therapist, there is hope for Jayme.
Judging by how she got out of that house, she found a way, she found people, she made it out. She has resiliency, and the fact that she has that is half the battle.
Carmody says there is no set timeline for recovery. It could take months or years. She tells us Jayme can't just go right back to school or to her home where everything happened. It has to be a slow reintroduction process with a lot of support and therapy. Jennifer Nazha, NBC 26. The Republican-authored lame duck bills will limit early voting by 2 weeks before an election and restrict the authority of Democratic incoming Governor Tony Evers and Attorney General Josh Kaul. But Governor Walker with a presentation Friday claiming the powers will remain the same for the next administration. However, his presentation didn't show how what he signed would impact the new governor. Just 24 days before leaving office, Governor Walker signing 3 bills in their entirety with no line item vetoes. Walker denouncing critics who claim the legislation was a last-minute power grab, saying that Tony Evers will still be one of the most powerful governors in the country. We heard from both sides.
All the major executive authorities that I had in January 3rd of 2011 remain intact.
This legislation would have happened if Governor Walker would have been elected instead of me.
A few of the restrictions placed on Evers will include inability to change public assistance programs or new state rules without legislative approval, and not having the final say in getting out of an Obamacare lawsuit. Evers tells us he is looking into options to fight the legislation. As for what's next for Governor Walker, he tells us he's had a lot of opportunities recently to take jobs in Washington, but he plans to stay right here in Wisconsin. He did not specify what those opportunities were. Keeping you connected, Jennifer Nazha, NBC 26.